fell on the shoulders of the young Akbar. Okay, his name was Jalaluddin Muhammad. Okay. His name was Jalaluddin Muhammad. The Akbar was a title. Okay, Akbar was the title. His subjects entitled him with the name or with the title of. Okay, so Akbar was born in Amarkot. Okay, so let's see some interesting thing today. ओके, ये बादशाह अकबर दिख रहे हैं क्या? इस बादशाह अकबर
Yes,
जलालुद्दीन
sir.
मोहम्मद अकबर विजिबल?
Yes, sir. Mughal Empire.
Yes, correct. Okay, great. So this Jalaluddin Muhammad or Jalaluddin Muhammad Akbar was born in 1542. Okay, he was born in 1542. Okay, he was born in 1542. Right. Is my writing visible?
Yes, sir.
At Amarkot. Okay. Just a minute. Okay. So this Jalaluddin Muhammad Akbar was born in 1542 at Amarkot. Probably he's the only king or he's the only Badshah or the emperor of Mughal clan or the non-Turkish clan who has born in India. Okay, he was born in India in the home of Rajput. Okay, he born in the home of Rajput. Okay, he was crowned as all know that Humayun died a tragic death. So after the death of his father, he was crowned at the age of 13 years. Okay, he was crowned at the age of 13 years. Okay, so at the very young age, at the age of 13 years, he was the king of India. Okay, at the age of 13 years, can you imagine? At the age of 13 years, he was the king of India. Okay, he was coronated at Kalanaur in Punjab. Okay, he was coronated at Kalanaur in Punjab. So the political issues or the political scenario at that time when Jalaluddin Muhammad was crowned as the king or as the Badshah, at that time everybody wanted to take the advantage of the unstable political situations. Okay, everybody wanted to take the advantage of unstable political situations because at such a young age, Jalaluddin Muhammad or Akbar was not the Akbar was not capable enough to take all the responsibilities of such a large empire. Okay, because the Mughal Empire was very large at that time. At that time also. Okay, at this kind of conditions or this sort of conditions, there was a there was his enemies. Okay, so the enemies of these Jalaluddin Muhammad was Afghans. Okay, the Afghans. So the Afghan, what Afghan people did, they united. Okay, what Afghan people did, they united. Okay, and they united in the leadership of Hemu. Okay, they united under the leadership of Hemu. Okay, now who was this Hemu? Hemu was the commander in chief. Okay, this Hemu was commander in chief. Okay, he was the commander in chief of Muhammad Adil Sur. Okay, Muhammad Adil Sur, and this and he Hemu, this particular person Hemu, what he did, he declared himself as an emperor. Okay, he declared himself as an emperor, and he renamed himself. Okay, he renamed himself as Hemachandra Vikramaditya. Okay, he renamed himself as Hemchandra Vikramaditya or Raja Hemu. Okay, I told you in some previous classes about this Vikramaditya stuff. Okay, मैंने बोला था ना कि विक्रमादित्य ये नाम फिर से आएगा. Okay. So here is the last thing when this Vikramaditya is used in the Indian history. Okay. So what they did under the leadership of Hemu, okay, under the leadership of Hemu or the Hemchandra Vikramaditya, what they did, they fought a war. Okay, they declared a war against Jalaluddin Muhammad. Okay, they declared the war against Jalaluddin Muhammad, and there was the battle of Panipat in 1556. Okay, so there was the battle of Panipat in 1556. So here, a general of Jalaluddin Muhammad played a key role. His name was Bairam Khan. Okay, his name was Bairam Khan, who played a key role. He killed Raja Hemu. Okay, he killed the Hemu, Hemchandra Vikramaditya, and Akbar was a winner. Okay, so he won the Panipat War. Okay, so he won the Panipat War. Jalaluddin Muhammad Akbar won the Panipat War and finally became a coronated emperor of India. Okay, finally became the coronated emperor of India. Okay, followed up to this. Okay. Next. If you want, you can take the screenshot for this. If you want, or you have the videos, or if you are writing, then it's very good. Okay.
Excuse me, sir.
Yes. Yeah, go on. Hello, who was that? Deepak, you wanted to ask something? Okay. Well, So the early campaigns of Akbar. Okay. The campaigns of Akbar. So to becoming a king is very simple thing. Okay, to become a king is very simple thing, but to remain a king for a longer time is a difficult task. Okay, it's not a difficult thing, it is a difficult task, because you just not have to win all the times, but you have to win the people too. Okay, you have to win the people too. So what Akbar did, Akbar started the campaigns all over the India. Okay, so wherever he did not have his power, okay, wherever he did not have his power, he just spread his message that come under us. Okay, come under the power of Mughals, surrender us, submit us, and run your empire, or either we will come there and completely destroy your empire, and that will be ours. Okay, so the early campaigns, in the campaigns of I'll just go for the famous ones. Okay, I'll just go for the famous ones, so that because Akbar has carried out numerous campaigns. Okay, Akbar has carried out numerous campaigns in his life, so we cannot cover all those, but we'll take some few, the important one and the famous ones. Okay, so the first campaign he took was 1561. Was it 1561 Malwa? Okay, 1561 Malwa campaign. Okay, so this Malwa campaign, Adam Khan. Okay, Adam Khan and Mullah Pir Muhammad. Okay, Mullah Pir Muhammad. These two were the generals of Akbar. Okay, these two people, Adam Khan and Mullah Pir Muhammad, were the generals of Akbar. Okay, so these two people, they defeated Baz Bahadur. Okay, they defeated Baz Bahadur of Saranpur. Okay, they defeated Baz Bahadur of Saranpur. Now this Baz Bahadur is also an interesting character. Okay, this Baz Bahadur is also an interesting character. So अगर time मिले तो भी Baz Bahadur के बारे में पढ़ना. Okay, so just when you type Baz Bahadur, there will come another name. Okay, and that name will be Rani Rupmati. Okay, Baz Bahadur and Rani Rupmati. They are the what I can say, the lovebirds. Okay, Baz Bahadur Rani Rupmati को लेके भागा. Okay, so पहले के जमाने में या और in the in course of Indian history, this was very normal. Okay, this was very normal that one prince takes away, kidnaps the. This word is actually wrong, kidnaps. Okay, but वही बोलते हैं. Okay, so he takes princess with him and get married, and then आगे का history होता है, just like in the case of Prithviraj Chauhan and Jaychand. Okay, Prithviraj Chauhan and Sanyukta. So this Baz Bahadur and Rani Rupmati are also interesting characters. Okay, so अगर time मिले तो पढ़ना. I'm not taking much interest, or I'm not going deep into Baz Bahadur's story, because this is not important for us. Okay, because that comes under the provincial services of the provincial history. Okay, or you have to go for the history of Malwa, then you will come across this Baz Bahadur. Okay, followed. Then, so this was Baz Bahadur. Then in 1568. Okay, in 1568, the Chittor under Rana Uday Singh. Okay, So in 1568, it was Chittor. He took the campaign against Chittor under Rana Uday Singh. Okay. Then in 1569, it was against Ranthambore. It was against Ranthambore. Okay. So in this Ranthambore, what happened? Ranthambore did not fight. Okay, Ranthambore did not fight. Okay, instead of this, instead of fighting, what Ranthambore did, that Rao Surjan Hada. Okay, Rao Surjan Hada. Okay, Rao Surjan Hada of Ranthambore, he submitted. Okay, he just he submitted himself and he joined imperial services. Okay, he joined imperial services. Next, in 1572, Gujarat. Okay, the 1572 campaign of Gujarat. Okay, now at that time Gujarat revolted. The king of Gujarat, he revolted. Okay, and Akbar marched from Sikri, where his capital was located. Okay, he marched from Sikri to Gujarat in 11 days. Okay, Sikri to in 11 days. Okay, so he marched from Sikri to Gujarat in 11 days. Okay, he defeated Gujarat. Okay, he defeated Gujarat. Okay, so Akbar was so proud of this victory. Okay, Akbar was so proud of this victory, so that he created a monument. Okay, he created a monument to celebrate this victory. Okay, so this victory is so the monument is called Buland Darwaza. Okay, this Buland Darwaza, what you can see in the picture. Okay, what you can see in the picture, this Buland Darwaza is the monument of Akbar's victory. Okay, it is a monument of Akbar's victory over Gujarat. Okay, he renamed the city where the capital was. Okay, he renamed the city where the capital was as Fatehpur Sikri. Okay, it was just Sikri. It was first, earlier it used to be Sikri. After this defeat, after this victory, okay, after the victory of Gujarat, he renamed Sikri as Fatehpur Sikri. Okay, Fateh means to win. Okay, in Persian. Followed. Then okay. Then the most famous campaign of Akbar is against Maharana Pratap. Okay, against Maharana Pratap. This battle was fought in Haldighati in 1576. Okay, this battle was fought in Haldighati in 1576 against Akbar and Maharana Pratap. Okay, against Akbar and Maharana Pratap. Maharana Pratap died very tragic death in this war. Okay, you can see in the picture. Maharana Pratap is having the spear in his hand. Okay, एक हाथ में भाला है, and on the horse he is sitting. That horse has a क्या बोलते हैं उसे, सोंड. ओके, उसके घोड़े को भी सूंड है, ओके, घोड़े को भी सूंड है, ट्रंक, his horse has trunk. Don't worry, this trunk is artificial. Okay, this trunk is artificial. This was just to this was installed, this trunk was installed just to fake that horse as elephant. Okay, घोड़े को हाथी की तरह दिखाने के लिए उसे वो सूंड लगाई जाती थी, so that सामने वाले को लगे कि हाथी आ रहा है, okay, opponent को लगे that opponent must think that an elephant is coming, but with that because elephant is slow, okay, in war scene, in the war, elephants are slow but horses are very fast, okay, so just to fake that it is coming with slow speed but actually going with very fast speed or very high velocity, to fake this, so this was the war strategy of Rajputs, okay, this was the war strategy of the Rajput at that time. If you can, if you go to Udaipur, visit the city palace, okay, visit city palace museum. So at the city palace museum you can see this this statue of Chetak, okay, this horse is named Chetak, okay, this horse is named Chetak. So you can see this statue, okay. Sir, Fatehpur Sikri basically from these are two different cities, but they are nearby. They say that Chetak used to run. No, this is very what I can say. बहुत ज़्यादा बड़ा चढ़ा के बोले जाने वाली बात. Nothing can run with speed of light. Apart from speed of light, okay? Apart from light, nothing can run with speed of light. Yeah, they used to tell this because they wanted to exaggerate. Okay, they wanted to exaggerate that Chetak used to run very fast. Okay, Chetak used to run very fast. Just to tell it. So this is an exaggeration. This is just an exaggeration. Okay. Okay. समझ में आया? This battle of Haldighati. The battle of Haldighati. This battle of Haldi.
उनकी डेथ क्यों हुई? आपने वो बच्चे वो हम हॉर्स पे चले गए तो फिर पता ही नहीं चला. महाराणा प्रताप की डेथ.
महाराणा प्रताप की डेथ इसलिए हुई थी बिकॉज he jumped over the Haldighati. Okay, चेतक तो टाइम पे ही मर गया. Okay, Chetak died at the very spot. Then Maharana Pratap take the place. Okay, Maharana Pratap took the place that जब तक मैं मुगलों को हराता नहीं हूं तब तक मैं राजमहल में वापस नहीं जाऊंगा. Okay, unless and until I defeat Mughal, I won't come back to my home, my palace, and he died there itself. Okay, due to hunger, due to poverty.
Okay, sir.
So this is the reason he died very tragic death. Okay, he made a plan. If you have watched the movie 300, देखिए क्या किसी ने 300 मूवी देखी किसी ने? This movie 300. देखिए ना. So in that 300 movie they make a plan that the opponent comes one by one and they kill them. Okay, so this plan was created originally by Maharana Pratap. Okay, he created such a master plan that from a small opening of Haldighati, the enemy will come and we will attack them one by one so that the entire army of enemy will be finished. But by fate or by his bad fate, enemy did not come one by one, but they completely destroyed the Haldighati and they came. Okay, hence this strategy did not work. Okay. Okay, next. प्रॉब्लम क्या है? Yes, every time I have to change the screen, so I don't know what the problem is. Okay, so the administration of Mughals or the Akbar. Okay, administration of Akbar. Akbar introduced a new system. Okay, Akbar introduced a new system. That system was known as Dasala. Okay, Dasala. This system, under this system, this was a taxation system. This was a kind of taxation system. Okay, so under this system, the average produce of different crops. Okay, average produce of different crops, not just one crop, but the average produce of different crops, as well as the average price of the crop for last 10 years. समझ में आया मैंने क्या कहा? Average price of all the crops plus the average price of average produce of all the crops. Okay, average produce of all the crops plus average price for the crops for last 10 years. Okay, taking this into consideration. Okay, taking this into consideration, they used to calculate the tax. Okay, means the taxes were not taken for a yearly basis. Okay, the taxes were not fixed at the yearly basis, but they used to consider a 10-year span. Okay, they used to consider the 10-year span for the tax to be calculated. Okay, and the share of the state. Okay, the share of the state was fixed at 1/3. Okay, the share of the state was fixed at 1/3. So जितना भी उनका दासाला के अकॉर्डिंग जो भी उनका प्रोड्यूस बनता होगा, okay, whatever the produce is, they just directly calculate it, and 1/3 used to given to the state, and remaining they used to use for themselves. Okay, he introduced a new system also. So that system is known as Zabit system. Okay. This system was known as Zabit system. Okay, so under this Zabit system, the land measurements. Okay, so the revenues. Okay, whatever the revenues were paid or revenues were calculated, they were calculated on the basis of measurement and assessment of land produce. Okay, so ऐसा नहीं है कि किसी एक साल अगर फसल खराब हो गई, okay, अगर किसी एक साल फसल खराब हो गई तो राजा आपसे टैक्स उस अकॉर्डिंग लेगा. समझ में आ गया? Zabit system, in what was the key point in the Zabit system was that the actual produce and the quality of the produce. Okay, the quality of the produce was also taken into consideration. Okay, the quality of the produce was also taken into consideration. If the quality of the produce is not so good, the tax used to be less. Okay, tax used to be less, and if the quality is good or up to the mark, then the rate of the tax would be higher. Okay, कभी ज्यादा फसल हो जाती है, कभी कम फसल होती है, कभी फसल अच्छी होती है, कभी फसल पे कीड़े लग जाते हैं, कभी चूड़ी हो जाती है, कभी गीली हो जाती है, especially the grains. Okay, especially the grains, just like the wheat or मक्का at that time. Okay, उस टाइम पे मक्का तो नहीं होता था, wheat होता था. Okay, so these kind of systems were introduced by this Akbar. Okay, so this Zabit system was administered by Raja Todormal. Okay, this Zabit system was carried out or administered by Raja Todormal. Okay, Raja Todarmal. Raja Todarmal was one of the gems in the Akbar's court. Akbar's court has 9 gems. Okay, नवरत्न दरबार बोलते हैं उसे. ठीक है, नवरत्न दरबार. For your homework, know or take the information of all these 9 people who are the gems in the Akbar's court. Okay, ये कौन थे? अकबर के कोर्ट में 9 रत्न कौन थे? Okay. So take this as a homework. ठीक है, वैसे मैं होमवर्क तो देता नहीं हूँ, बट ठीक है आज के लिए. ठीक, Raja Todarmal. It was administered by Raja Todarmal. Hence, this system was also called as Todarmal's Bandobast. ठीक है, this was also called as Todarmal's Bandobast. Okay. समझ में आया Zabit system? What was there in Zabit system is that in the case of Zabit, they used to analyze and assess. Okay, they used to analyze and assess the land produce, how much the land produce, and what quality of the produce is. Okay, what is the quality of produce and what is the quantity of produce. इसके पहले के जितने भी टैक्सेशन सिस्टम्स थे उनमें क्वालिटी के बारे में कुछ भी नहीं कहा गया है. मार्क दिस स्टेटमेंट. ओके, मार्क दिस स्टेटमेंट. इसके पहले के जितने भी टैक्सेशन सिस्टम्स थे, ओके, whatever the taxation systems are, in all those taxation systems nothing is mentioned about the quality of the produce but only about the quantity of the produce. Okay, Akbar was the first, or the Zabit system was the first to introduce the system which considered the quantity as well as quality. Okay, if the quality is not good, then you have to pay lesser taxes. Okay, if quality is not good, you have to pay lesser taxes, and if quality is good, then the normal taxation or the normal price of the tax will be applicable. Okay, followed? समझ में आया? ये Zabit system समझ में आया? The Zabit system is considered as the extension of the Dasala system. Okay, this Dasala system, the extension of the Dasala system itself. Okay. Next, Akbar introduced the Mansabdari system. Okay, he introduced the Mansabdari system. Now, ये concept अच्छे से समझ लो. Okay, just remember this concept very well because when we will study about the Maratha Empire, ये concept तूफान मचाने वाली है. Okay, the Mansabdari system. So Mansabdari system was gradation of the officers. Okay, the gradation of the officers. So the gradation of the officers according to their ranks. Okay, gradation of the officers according to their rank. So each officer used to be assigned a mansab. Okay, so each officer used to get a mansab. Okay, each officer used to get a mansab. So according to his importance, his role in the administration, the mansab used to change. Okay, so mansab used to be 5,000, 7,000, 10,000, 15,000, 20,000, 25,000, 50,000, 1 lakh. Okay, this was the mansabdari. Okay, so these were the grants which an officer used to get. Okay, this was the grants which an officer used to get. Most important work done by Akbar was to abolish the jizya tax. Okay, In 1564, he abolished jizya tax. What is this jizya tax? Tell me, what is this jizya tax? In last class, I have told you about this jizya tax. बोल दिया क्या?
नॉन मुस्लिम्स को पे करना पड़ता था.
Tax for non-Muslims, particularly non-Muslims. Okay. So you have to pay the tax just because you are not Muslim. Okay. So this jizya tax he abolished in 1564. Okay. Then he abolished pilgrimage tax. Pilgrimage tax. Now, what is this pilgrimage tax? The pilgrimage tax is that tax, or was that tax, which was used to be taken from non-Muslims. Again, okay, this was taken from non-Muslims to visit their holy places. Okay, मतलब तीर्थ यात्रा के because Indian people, Indian Hindu people or Indian Hindu society go to the pilgrimage. Okay, they go to the pilgrimage. Okay. क्या?
अरे ये देखो
Kindly mute yourself. Okay. So Indian, any Hindu Indian, they go to pilgrimage for their religious tasks. Okay. Just like अगर आपको कुछ पूजा वूजा करवानी हो तो हम लोग किसी मंदिर में जाएंगे, या फिर if you want to go to visit a temple, so we don't go in the nearby temple, we go to Kedarnath if Mahadev temple is there. Okay, we will go to Kedarnath, or we go to the Char Dham Yatra. Okay, चार धाम पता है ना, विष्णु के चार मंदिर, विष्णु भगवान के चार मंदिर कौन से? चार धाम.
केदारनाथ, बद्रीनाथ, यमुनोत्री, गंगोत्री.
केदारनाथ बद्रीनाथ दोनों का?
चारधाम मध्ये येतात ना.
चारधाम मध्ये नाही येत ते. चारधाम मध्ये केदारनाथ बद्रीनाथ येईल. केदारनाथ कसं आहे? केदारनाथ तर महादेवाचं मंदिर आहे. What I am asking about the Vaishnav परंपरा. ठीक है, ये चारधाम वाला जो कंसेप्ट है, this चारधाम concept is in Vaishnav परंपरा. Okay, in the Vaishnav mat, what you are telling, Kedarnath is in Shaiva mat. Okay, there are three major mats in India. Okay, Vaishnav, Shaiva और शाक्त, तीन. Okay, एक वैष्णव परंपरा, दूसरी शाक्त परंपरा और तीसरी शैव परंपरा. Okay, ये तीन परंपराएं हैं मेजर, बाकी छोटी मोटी बहुत सारी है. ओके, सो चारधाम वाली जो यात्रा होती है, वॉट एवर दिस चारधाम पिलग्रिमेज इज फॉर द वैष्णव मत. ओके, विच आर दोस? पता करो. अगेन सेकंड होमवर्क.
सर गुगल केलं तिथे येत आहे केदारनाथ.
केदारनाथ नाही आहे रे,
येत आहे ना. बद्रीनाथ, केदारनाथ, यमुनोत्री, गंगोत्री चौघचारी पण येतात.
अच्छा, मग पुरी, द्वारका हे कुठे गेले? द्वारका है, पुरी आहे, रामेश्वरम आहे, आहेत ना चार. काइंडली गेट कंफर्म्ड इट. ओके, बिकॉज जितना मुझे पता है, अकॉर्डिंग टू दैट दीज फोर आर देयर: बद्रीनाथ, देन पुरी, द्वारका एंड रामेश्वरम.
सर यही 4 है.
Okay, so this kind of the pilgrimage was or is very common among the Hindu people in India. Okay, the Muslim kings or the Muslim people or the Muslim empires imposed the tax on this pilgrimage. Okay, if you are going to visit a temple, you have to pay the tax, and then you will go. Okay, so Akbar abolished this pilgrimage tax. Okay, Akbar abolished this pilgrimage tax. Okay, Again, he forbidden the practice. Okay, abolished practice of forcible conversion of war prisoners. Okay, so before Akbar's time, there was forcible conversion of war prisoners. Means war prisoners, किसी भी धर्म के हो, they will be converted into Muslims. Okay, they would have to be converted as Muslims. Okay, but Akbar abolished this practice, and he gave the code of conduct. Okay, he gave the code of conduct. Okay, so the code of conduct which was given by Akbar, okay, the code of conduct which was given by the Akbar is known as Deen e Ilahi. Okay, this Deen e Ilahi, which was a code of conduct. Okay, the code of conduct for his administration. Okay. Again, he formulated or he adopted the Persian calendar. Okay, he adopted the Persian calendar. Persian calendar was a solar calendar. Okay, he adopted Persian solar calendar. He started the celebrations of Nowruz. Okay, which was again a Persian festival. Okay, so all these things, from where did we know? We know from this book. Okay, ये जिस book का आपको आप लोग cover देख रहे हैं, Akbarnama. Okay, this Akbarnama was written by Abul Fazl. Okay, one of the gems in Akbar's court. Okay, it was written by Akbarnama. This was the first book. This is the first book which describes a king. Okay, which describes a king in its all original content. Okay, this is Akbarnama. ठीक है, इसके पहले ऐसा कोई भी बुक नहीं लिखा गया था which gives us the details about the king. Okay, about his court, about his day-to-day administration. Okay, in Akbarnama there is one more book. Okay, this Akbarnama is not just one book, it is a set of books. The last book is Ain-e-Akbari. Okay, you might have heard about this book, Ain-e-Akbari. Okay, in that Ain-e-Akbari, various administration reforms, administrative reforms, and the decisions taken by Akbar are formulated. Okay, followed. Akbar died a natural death. Okay, Akbar died a natural death, and he died in 1605. Okay, Akbar died in 1605. समझ में आया यहाँ तक?
यस सर.
आगे बढ़े. ठीक है. So after Akbar, his son, okay, his son Salim ascended the throne. Okay, his son Salim ascended the throne. Okay, so the name of his this Jahangir was originally named was Salim. Okay, his original name was Salim. Okay, he took the title for himself as Nuruddin Muhammad Jahangir. Okay, the title was Nuruddin Muhammad Jahangir. Okay, Nuruddin Muhammad Jahangir. Okay, his son Prince Khusru, okay, his son. Can you mute yourselves? Okay. So his son Salim's or Jahangir's son Khusru. Okay, Khusru revolted against Jahangir. Okay, he revolted against Jahangir in 1606. Revolted against Jahangir in 1606, but Jahangir defeated him. Okay, Jahangir defeated Khusro near Lahore. Okay. Jahangir married Nur Jahan. Okay, Jahangir married Nur Jahan in 1611. Okay, Jahangir married Nur Jahan in 1611. Okay, this Nur Jahan was a daughter. Okay. Nur Jahan was a daughter of Mirza Gayaz Beg. Okay, she was a daughter of Mirza Gayaz Beg, and her original name was Mehrun Nisa. Okay, her original name. Mehrun Nisa. Okay, so she was born as Mehrun Nisa, but she was famous as Nur Jahan. Okay. Now, why this queen is important? Okay, why this queen is important? This queen is rather important in the Indian history because she ran the government. Okay, she operated the government from her own court. Okay, from her own court. Because when Jahangir was not there, when Jahangir used to go out for the battles or for the expedition, at that time the administration was governed by Nur Jahan. Okay, she is the second woman which is known for having a very keen interest in the administration. First one was Razia Sultan. Okay, first one was the Razia Sultan. Razia Sultan became a sultan and she ascended the throne. But Nur Jahan did not ascend the throne. Okay, Nur Jahan did not ascend the throne, but she ran the administration from behind. Okay, she was in the background and she was running the administration. Okay, hence she is very important when we talk about Jahangir. Okay, he was having campaigns. Okay, he was having campaigns. Okay, he had a successful campaign. He had a successful campaign against Rana Amar Singh. Okay, he had a very successful campaign against Rana Amar Singh. Okay, this Rana Amar Singh was of Mewar, and this is in 1615. Okay. Okay, so he defeated Rana Amar Singh of Mewar. Okay, then in 1620, his son Prince Khurram. Okay. His son Prince Khurram conquered Kangra. Okay, his son Prince Khurram conquered the Kangra. Okay, Kangra. Where is Kangra? In India. Where is Kangra?
हिमाचल प्रदेश.
Kangra. Kangra is in Himachal Pradesh. Why is it so special? Kangra सबसे ज़्यादा special क्यों है? What is the speciality of this Kangra? Two specialties are there. two specialties of Kangra. Kangra is so famous in India. I don't know if you know about this or not, but there is a fort, okay, Kangra Fort, which is considered to be the oldest fort in India. Okay, the Kangra Fort is considered to be the oldest fort in India. So the references of this Kangra Fort you can find in Mahabharata also. Okay, you can find the references of Kangra Fort in Mahabharata. Okay, and the second specialty is the temple of Kangra Devi. The Kangra Devi temple is there. Okay. Okay. So he in the Khurram, the Prince Khurram conquered Kangra in 1620, and he earlier ascended Ahmednagar. Okay, Ahmednagar in 1617. So he was given the title of Shah Jahan. Okay, he was given the title of Shah Jahan. Okay. Khurram is equivalent. He was the Shah Jahan. इन लोगों के बर्थ नेम्स या लोगों के नाम अलग होते हैं, but they take some different titles and run the administration. Okay. Jahangir died in 1627. Okay. Jahangir died in 1627 and he was buried in Lahore. Okay. He was buried in Lahore. Next. इसमें कोई प्रॉब्लम? इसके पहले शाहजहां जहांगीर
ईयर क्या था?
1627.
सो
Okay, Shahjahan. Now, Shahjahan was Badshah or king. After the death of Jahangir, okay, after the death of Jahangir, it was not easy for Shah Jahan to ascend the throne. Okay, there was much civil war against the children of the Jahangir. Okay, Jahangir has many children. Okay, among those, Shah Jahan was the first who was victorious. Okay, he was the victorious. Okay, in the struggle of power. Okay, in the struggle of power. So he ascended the throne in 1627. Okay, he ascended the throne in 1627. Okay, as he was fighting for the throne. Okay, he was fighting for the throne. He faced many revolts. Okay, he faced many revolts. Okay, he faced many revolts, and those revolts to immediately. Okay. Many revolts immediately. He ascended to the Deccan and he was successful. He was successful in Deccan. Okay. He was successful in Deccan. Okay. So the kingdoms of Bijapur, and Golconda. Okay, the kingdoms of Bijapur and Golconda, they submitted themselves to the Shah Jahan. Okay, they submitted themselves to the Shah Jahan. Shah Jahan fell ill in 1652. Shahjahan fell ill in 1652. So at his time, there was no law. Okay, there was no law to declare or to have any successor. Okay, there was no law of declaring any successor. That any king did not used to declare his successor that he will be the next king. Okay, he will be the next king. Just a king used to die, and then his successors used to fight among themselves, and whomsoever is the winner used to be the king. Okay, the same case, the same story repeated in the case of Shah Jahan. Okay, same story repeated in the case of Shah Jahan. Okay, what happened here? There was a revolt, or there was a war. Okay, there was a war which broke out among his four sons. Okay, among his four sons. So two sons are famous in history. Okay, two sons are famous in history. The two sons are Dara Shikoh. Okay, the eldest one. Okay, the eldest one was the Dara Shikoh, and the second one was Aurangzeb. Okay, Dara Shikoh and Aurangzeb. These two people are just the क्या बोल सकते हैं, the different personalities from each other. Okay, both these two had the different personalities from each other. Whereas the Dara Shikoh was very tolerant. He was a scholar. Okay, he used to respect all the religions, and he even translated many Hindu epics or in Hindu books into Farsi. Okay, he was a scholar basically. But Aurangzeb did not want or did not respect any religion apart from his own. Okay, apart from his own. So he used to call everyone who is non-Muslim. Okay, he used to call everyone who is non-Muslim as kafir. Okay. So these two were the different personalities, or the exactly opposite personalities of each other. Okay. So Shah Jahan wanted Dara Shikoh. Okay. Shah Jahan wanted Dara Shikoh to take over the throne after him. Okay. He wanted Dara Shikoh to take over the throne after him, but what Aurangzeb did, see, Dara Shikoh and Aurangzeb, these two people are there. Okay, so Shah Jahan wanted this Dara Shikoh to be the next king. Okay, but Aurangzeb imprisoned his father. Okay, Aurangzeb imprisoned his father. Okay, अपने फादर को, मतलब शाहजहां को किले में बंद कर दिया. Okay, arrested his father. Okay, arrested his father in Agra. Okay, arrested his father in Agra. Okay, and become the king, and he became king. Okay, he brutally killed Dara Shikoh. Okay, Dara Shikoh ran away in Afghanistan. He found him, and Dara Shikoh, he first blinded him. Okay, first he blinded him, took out both his eyes, and then killed him. Okay. Even Aurangzeb killed the sons of Dara Shikoh, so that there should not be any rebel or any revolt against him. Okay. So this Aurangzeb, when he imprisoned his father in Agra, he ascended the throne. Okay, so this was his first coronation. Okay, this was his first coronation after when he defeated Dara Shikoh. Okay, when he defeated Dara Shikoh, he was coronated once again. Okay, he was coronated once again. So the second coronation of Aurangzeb took place in 1659. Second coronation. He took the title. He took many titles. Okay, he took the title of Alamgir. Took the title of Alamgir. If you have seen any historical movie which features Aurangzeb, okay, या फिर किसी अगर कोई serial वगैरह देखा हो, you have seen the serials or even the serial which ended just 5 or 6 months back, Sambhaji Maharaj, Swarajya Rakshak Sambhaji, Marathi serial is there. Okay, if you have seen that serial, all the generals or all the people of Aurangzeb's court call him Alamgir. Okay, Alamgir Aurangzeb or Alampana. Okay, Alampana means who gives shelter to everyone. That means Alampana. Yeah, this is a Farsi word. Okay. Again, he had his people used to call him Zinda Pir. Okay, they used to call him Zinda Pir. Okay. He was so what I can say, he was so very different kind of person. Okay, I'm not getting the proper word for him. Okay, he was so different kind of person that he ended the celebration of Nowruz. Okay, he ended the celebration of Nowruz, which was started by Akbar. Okay, he ended the celebration of Nowruz. Okay, which was started by Akbar. Okay, he was forbidden music in court. Okay, in his court, no music used to be played. Okay, and he ordered abolition of ये मेरा abolition का spelling गलत हो गया, correctly लिखना. He ordered the abolition of Hindu temples. Okay, he officially ordered the abolition of the Hindu temples. Okay, and he abolished very famous temples, just like Vishweshwar temple in Banaras. Okay, Vishweshwar temple in Banaras and Keshavari temple in Mathura. Okay, such a psycho. Yes, actually, Purandar, he was a very psycho person. Okay, actually, he was psycho person. Pratik says he was the only emperor in Mughal dynasty who was away from all ill habits. He never touched alcohol or any other pleasing message. That's correct. And due to his these habits, he was called Zindapur. Okay, due to these habits, he was called Zindapur. He just had all the bad habits in his mind. Okay, all the bad habits in his mind only. Okay. And yes, Aurangzeb was an excellent warrior. Okay, Aurangzeb was an excellent warrior. Okay. Again, what Aurangzeb did? Okay, what Aurangzeb did was he reintroduced jizya. Okay. Okay, he reintroduced the jizya tax. not able to see the chat section. So to me, am I stuck? Am I stuck?
No, sir.
You were, now you're fine.
Somebody beside him. He used to earn his living by selling caps. Although he was the emperor, he was a low maintenance man. Yes. Pratik seems to know much about Aurangzeb. Good going, Pratik. औरंगजेब के बारे में इतना कुछ.
Thank you, sir.
PhD वगैरह करायचा विचार होता का रे औरंगजेब.
सर वाचलंय, आठवतं कधी कधी थोडस.
अच्छा, चलो अच्छा है. So he reintroduced jizya tax. He built Bibi ka Maqbara. Google. Bibi ka Maqbara. Actually, I don't know who built. I guess he has only built Bibi ka Maqbara. Okay. He reintroduced jizya tax. Okay. He reintroduced jizya tax. Okay. This jizya tax was formally abolished in 1712. 1712, after 5 years after the death of Aurangzeb. Okay. He executed the ninth Guru of Sikhs. Okay. He executed the ninth Guru of Sikhs, Guru Tegh Bahadur Singh Ji. Okay. Guru Tegh Bahadur Singh Ji was executed, was beheaded by him in 1675. Guru Tegh Bahadur Singh. Okay, Guru Tegh Bahadur Singh. Okay, the biggest mistake of Aurangzeb. Okay, the biggest mistake of Aurangzeb was that he did not recognize, or he did not give importance to fast rising Maratha Empire. Okay, he did not give the due importance to fast rising Maratha Empire, and hence Aurangzeb never won. Okay, he could never win against any Maratha Empire. Okay, he spent almost 15 years, or entire the climax of his life, fighting against the Marathas. Okay, say it Shivaji Maharaj or Sambhaji Maharaj. Okay, two kings of Marathas, they fight against Aurangzeb, but Aurangzeb could never win against both these two. Okay, he never won. समझ में आया? So this is all about Mughals. Okay, this is all about Mughals. इसके बाद भी बहुत सारे मुगल हुए. Okay, इसके बाद औरंगजेब के बाद भी बहुत सारे मुगल होते हैं, but they are not worthy enough to explain. Okay, they are not so great, or they are not so much important to history. Okay, they were just the kings for namesake. They were just the kings for the namesake. बस उसके बाद उनका कोई importance नहीं बचता. The last important king, or the last important Badshah of the Mughals was the Bahadur Shah Zafar. Okay, the Bahadur Shah Zafar, about which I have told you in the first class of GS, the 1857 revolt. Okay, he was sent to Rangoon. Okay, he was sent to Rangoon by British. Okay, so he was the last Mughal alive in India. Okay, so after Aurangzeb, there are no notable kings or no notable Badshahs are present, or they coronated in the Mughal Empire. Okay. For द नेम सेक देयर वाज अ मुगल एम्पायर. ओके, समझ में आया? सो दिस वाज ऑल अबाउट द मुगल एम्पायर और द मुस्लिम रूल इन इंडिया.